Okay, it looks like we are live. Going live now. And I'm going to put on my headphones this time so I can hear myself. This is try 2. This is try 2. I tried to stream earlier and lost the microphone in the middle of the stream. I'm sorry about that. This happens when you don't have a producer. You need a producer. And I don't have one. So I didn't have anybody to check my sound. And I'm sorry about that. But I'm not the only one who had a bad day. I'm not the only one who had a bad day. So let me start with that. Someone who had a really bad day. So when you fly, it's always nice to have confidence in your crew, especially in your pilot. You want to have confidence in your pilot that he knows what he's doing. And it didn't go so well for this pilot. So let's take a look at what happened here. They are struggling to close that door. Very hard, tough job. Looks like someone is helping. Oh, that's the pilot. That's the pilot who just helped him shut the door. And there you go. He forgot that he needs to board before he closes the door. He forgot. Hello. Can you open the door, please? Can you help us, please? Open the door. We need to get inside. Open the door. We need to come inside. So the entire flight crew is outside the plane. Open the door. They're asking the passengers to let them in. What a problem. Yeah, so open the door, guys. This does not help much with confidence in your pilot. Please, open the door. This really does not help much. I hope they got out. I don't know. I hope they figured out how to get out of that, and how to get the door open so that the pilot and the flight attendant can get in. Yeah. Not a lot of confidence. So also on the 1st of April we launched a prank video. And I wrote this and published it, created the thumbnail, the whole thing, shot the video, everything in about 40 minutes between 2 meetings. I had an hour between 2 meetings. And so I had to hastily put this together. Not a lot of views for this, but if you want to check it out, scientists discover the woke mind virus. The video is still up, and you can check out this April Fool's prank from Truth Matters Unplugged. I will try to do one again next year, hopefully even better, and hopefully we can get some more views. This happened April 1st around 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. and I think then it was published. I don't know exactly what time it was published, but it was a quick deal to put this together. Now, what happened in this week is, of course, Trump fired Pam Bondi. This comes on the heels of firing Kristi Noem. So Kristi Noem for how she handled DHS, and Pam Bondi, we assume, is because of how she handled the Epstein files. And a lot of people are unhappy about how the Epstein files were handled and that not everything's been released yet. Then there were the folders with nothing in it, and it was just a cluster. I mean, nobody was happy. Now I don't know if she's fired because of the Epstein files for the same reasons. The reasons may be very different from the reasons that the public is unhappy about. But in any event, I think a lot of people are happy that she's gone. I don't like her myself. So she's out, and hopefully we're going to get the release of the rest of the Epstein files. We'll get some transparency there, because a lot of evil going on. Now, I have made videos in the past, and I stay with this, that I think it's likely that Epstein is still alive. And the reason why I think that is because he was dealing with such prominent elite people all over the world. I mean, extremely wealthy, influential people. And if there's blackmail involved, and he's the blackmailer, then he would have had to make sure that that sensitive information, the blackmail, the actual evidence, is hidden. And I mean, you have a dead man switch. You're going to make sure that nobody can get to that data. And if something happens to you, that it gets released. And it wasn't released. The actual incriminating evidence was never released. Because if he actually died, then we would all have known about it. That's my position on this. And then, of course, in the files, there were investigations. And one of these investigations was launched shortly after the announcement of his death, because somebody posted on 4chan that they are a prison guard and that a van showed up. Epstein was carted out in a wheelchair to see a doctor or a nurse, and this van showed up in the middle of the night. Before that night that Epstein died, that night a van showed up. It was not logged in. They didn't take the plates. There were military people in the van, and the van left. What was going on there? And then there's a missing footage. All these things. So a lot of questions. But I would not be surprised if Epstein has been placed under some witness protection program or in some secret place, and made a deal somewhere with somebody in the deep state. We'll see. Maybe we'll never find out. But I just don't see how he can be dead. Let's get to the next thing. This is a very special Easter. This is a very, very special Easter. And I want to point out, and you can read the slide here, but Jesus was resurrected. We're of course celebrating Easter, which is the resurrection of Christ. He was resurrected on the day of first fruits. This is the last day of the Jewish Passover. The Passover lasts 8 days. And it's first the Passover. It's a Passover feast, consists of Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and then first fruits, which is Reshit. And so the Christian Easter is actually first fruits. Now the Jewish Passover and Easter, they vary about a week apart. Sometimes they coincide. I think this year it started on the 1st of April. But Jesus was born, and the predominant view for his birth is the fourth year before Christ, 4 BC. Now there are other views, but to date the birth of Christ, there are some things we can reference. First of all, in the year 525, Dionysius Exiguus, a Roman abbot, devised this calendar that we use around the birth of Christ. But later on, they discovered that he did not include 4 important years in the history. He excluded that in the history he missed something. And so they inserted it back. And that pushed the birth of Christ back by 4 years. And then there are some biblical references. The Bible mentions Caesar Augustus' rule. And he reigned between 4 and 3 BC when he commanded that there be a census for naming him the divine Emperor Octavius Augustus, the father of the Roman Empire. And in Luke 2, you'll see that he's mentioned. This was in the 25th year of his reign that this happened. Excuse me. Then, according to Matthew 2, Jesus was born during the reign of Herod the Great. Herod the Great was the Herod that built the temple, the second temple. Now, contrary to a lot of people believe, there are 4 generations of Herods in the Bible, in the New Testament. There's not just Herod, there's Herod Antipas and a bunch of others. So, but he was the one that died in his 27th year of his reign in Jericho. And there was a lunar eclipse in Palestine shortly before his death, right before the Passover. This lunar eclipse happened probably on March 12 or 13 of 4 BC. And Herod also wanted all the boys younger than 2 years old to be killed. When he learned that a king had been born, and he learned this from the 3 wise, or not the 3, but the wise men from the east. We don't know if it was 3. And so the most likely year for the birth of Christ is 4 BC. And this is the most prominent view. So this is the 2,000-year anniversary of the baptism of Jesus and the start of his ministry. Because he was baptized when he was about 30 years old. So if you add 30 to 4 BC, you get 26 AD. You add 2,000 years to that, you get 2026. So this Passover would be the 2,000-year anniversary of the first Passover that happened during the ministry of Jesus. And the baptism took place about 45 days or so before that Passover. Jesus was baptized. There was the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And he went into the desert or in the wilderness then to be tempted by the devil for 40 days, to fast. And after that, John saw him coming, and John made some comments about Jesus, proclaimed him the Lamb of God, the Messiah. And then Jesus went with his disciples to the wedding in Cana, where he turned the water into wine. And after that, for a few days, they spent in Capernaum before the Bible says he went up to Jerusalem for the Passover. So that's how that's calculated. So this is the 2,000-year anniversary of the baptism of Christ and the start of his ministry, which is quite significant. I don't know anybody, I haven't heard anybody else talk about this, and which I find quite strange, but I'm going to mention it. So I think this is a significant Passover marking 2,000 years ago that Jesus began his ministry and that he was baptized. Now, does this mean that you should now wrap up your credit card and, buy that Ferrari or that jet because the end is near? No, we're not saying that. We're not saying that. I will go into a little bit of the eschatology after we talk about UFOs. Let's go and talk about what's happening in the UFO world right now. Because there are a lot of things just sort of lining up now. And more talk about UFO disclosure. No, UFOs are no longer conspiracy theory. You don't have a tinfoil hat. Nobody looks at you weird anymore if you mention aliens, extraterrestrials, UFOs, AUPs, or whatever, or unidentified. Sea vehicles? What do they call them? Underwater vehicles. So what is it? UUVs. I think there is something brewing. It seems there's an agenda to prepare people maybe for some kind of a disclosure. So something that also happened is that Hollywood has picked up on this. And, this is interesting because now in the entertainment industry and in Hollywood and in the news, all of this is lining up. How is that possible? There's a new movie coming out by Steven Spielberg called Disclosure Day. And as Hollywood is, they usually have competing films on the same theme. And there's another film that's in the making. No firm release date yet, but it's also a UFO disclosure thriller from director Joseph Kosinski. He's from he made Top Gun, Maverick. And producer Jerry Bruckheimer. This is for Apple Original Films. And then there are about a half a dozen upcoming UFO disclosure documentaries, and some that were already released. So this is no longer just conspiracy. It's no longer, just something that... this is getting serious. And then a lot of things have been said in the news. Let me play you just a clip of Bill Maher. Let me see if I can get that.
Finally, new rule given the increasing number.
Okay, I'm going to start this over so you can see it. Give me 1 second. Okay, that's better. All right, here we go.
Finally, new rule given the increasing number in recent years of sightings by serious military personnel of unknown aircraft operating outside our current abilities. If at this point you don't believe aliens are here and observing us, maybe you're the conspiracy theorist. Now, in the past, when it came to alien life, I was like a liberal college girl whose roommate is a lesbian. Not sold on it, but open to the possibility. But look, my opinion changes when the information changes. Yes, there was a time when the only actual contact we heard from about aliens was rural people who'd been abducted and anally probed. But you don't hear about that anymore. Why? My guess is the aliens gathered all the information they needed about us that they could get through our ass. It's where I'd look. But now they seem to be on to another phase. They seem to want to be spotted. Why else this constant playing peekaboo with our military? And it's serious people now. Not hippies or hillbillies, serious people. People with Mike Pence's haircut. Who are saying that they keep seeing things move through air and ocean in ways that defy our physics. Military pilots who say, yeah, I saw something doing Mach 10 and then it stopped on a dime and disappeared. That's not a drone. That's not something from another country. Even Elon is like, not me. Now, the government's official public line is, we don't know what these things are. But in private, what they say is, No, seriously, we don't know what the fuck these things are.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. So yeah, but there have been recently just a number of disclosures happening that just right after one another. J.D. Vance, he had in an interview, he didn't say anything. He said that he doesn't think aliens are actual beings from other distant planets. He thinks they are demons. And then, but Matt Gaetz, in an interview with Benny Johnson, said something else. So let's take a look at what he said.
I think the
If I can get the slide video up. Here we go.
most important information will be the biologics that are not human that have been discovered. And like even some of the briefings that aren't classified just need to be out in the public. I mean, I had someone come and brief me who was in a military uniform, worked for the United States Army, that was briefing me on the locations of hybrid breeding programs where captured aliens were breeding with humans to create some hybrid race that could engage in intergalactic communication. An actual uniformed member of the United States Army briefed me on that.
Okay, so what are we talking about here? Military breeding, hybrids, human, aliens, breeding a new species. And that's not all. That's not all. Then Republican Tim Burchett.
I don't have the tinfoil hat on just yet, Congressman, but I'm wondering, kind of how you react to that, because you are connected. You're on the UFO subcommittee. I mean, I'm just wondering what you make of that. Have you heard anything like that?
Well, I'm still a member of Congress, so I can't really comment too much on what Matt said. But I will say this.
Wait, seriously? Are you being serious, or is that tongue in cheek?
I'm being 100% serious.
Okay.
I've been 100% serious. I've been briefed by just about every alphabet agency there is. And I'll just tell you this. If they would release the things that I've seen, you would stay up. You'd be up at night worrying about or thinking about this stuff. We just need to disclose it all. I'm sick of it. Well, I was briefed. I'll just tell you this. I was briefed last week on an issue, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago, and it would have set the earth on. This country would have come unglued, I think, if they.
Listen to what he said. This country would have come unglued.
They would have heard all that I heard. They would demand answers. And we need to, but it's never going to get. Unfortunately, it just keeps getting covered up, and the people that know are dying or disappearing, as the case may be.
Wow.
And for the record, I'm not suicidal, and I don't take risks. So,
I'm glad you said that. I'm speechless, Congressman.
We
will have you back.
You should be. And I told the president, release it all. And the problem is the people that are around the president don't know and the president doesn't know the questions to ask. A few of us are going to have to get with the president and tell him what he needs to ask and where he needs to look. I mean, we're in meetings and they give addresses and tell locations of items, I'll just say. And the public has a right to know, dadgummit. It's your tax dollars.
Absolutely.
Let's get it out there.
You got my attention, Congressman. I appreciate you being as forthcoming as you have been tonight. And we look forward to having you back. Look, I know Donald Trump wants to disclose something. He hasn't done it yet, but I think he wants to be the president to do that. Tim Burchett, thank you.
He does.
And I have another clip for you. And by the way, Thomas Schwarzenberger, I think I saw you in the previous live stream. Thanks for watching again. And thanks for your messages. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the stream earlier. Otherwise, I would have been able to
Roswell,
correct that.
Area 51, Wright-Patterson down in Dayton, my home state of Ohio. We've been hearing about this stuff now for 70 years. That we have it, we don't have it. That we've re-engineered it, no, we haven't. I know you can't talk about much because you're an active member. But just give me a wink. Are we alone?
No, we're not. We're not
Holy,
alone.
wait a minute. Did we just break that? Wait a minute. Is that April Fool's today, Tim?
No, it's second. No, we are not alone.
We don't make all them movies up just because somebody's creative in Hollywood and knows how to write that crap.
No,
They're
no,
getting
they
this from
don't.
somewhere.
Let me leave you with this one, Dan.
Okay.
I was in a meeting, and I'll just leave it at that as a meeting because I have a lot of
was in a
meetings.
meeting.
Yeah, and if that was allowed to be told in the public, the wheels would come off. They
The
would come
truth
off
about
because every detractor was put in their place. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, but so the wheels would come off, and he says we are not alone. We are definitely not alone. And he says that every detractor was put in their place. In other words, anybody that tried to make this briefing that they received oppose that, they were put in their place. That's how I interpret what he's saying. So there are actual things going on. Let's go back to Bill Maher and listen to a little bit more to what he had to say.
Finally, new rule, given the increasing number in recent years of sightings by serious military personnel of unknown aircraft operating outside our current abilities, if at this point you don't believe aliens are here and observing us, maybe you're the conspiracy theorist. Now, in the past, when it came to alien life, I was like a liberal college girl whose roommate is a lesbian. Not sold on it, but open to the possibility. But look, my opinion changes when the information changes. Yes, there was a time when the only actual contact we heard from about aliens was rural people who'd been abducted and anally probed. But you don't hear about that anymore. Why? My guess is the aliens gathered all the information they needed about us that they could get through our ass. It's where I'd look. But now they seem to be on to another phase. They seem to want to be spotted. Why else this constant playing peekaboo with our military? And it's serious people now. Not hippies or hillbillies, serious people. People with Mike Pence's haircut. First of its kind hearings on what the Defense Department calls unidentified aerial phenomena, formerly called UFOs, but don't dead name them. And again, it's not weirdos and beardos saying this. It's the guys with buzz cuts and security clearances who are spilling the tea. And politicians who you don't think are crazy people, like Chuck Schumer, Harry Reid, Marco Rubio, Kirsten Gillibrand. They're not disputing it. Jimmy Carter said he saw a UFO. George W. Bush said, yeah, there are secrets about aliens, and no, I won't tell you. Barack Obama recently made headlines when he said aliens, quote, are real, but I haven't seen them. Former Director of National Intelligence, General James Clapper, is on board, and our current Director of National Intelligence has indicated that she believes in the possibility of alien life. Also, that it illegally voted for Joe Biden in Georgia. Look. If you don't believe me now, you will in June, when Steven Spielberg's movie called Disclosure Day comes out. This on the heels of the documentary from last year called Age of Disclosure. You get it? Disclosure? We're at the disclosure moment in human history. So can we cut the crap? They're here, they came in a sphere, get used to it.
Yeah, I don't know if they came in a sphere. I don't know if they are real extraterrestrials from other planets. We'll talk about that in a second. But let's just continue and hear some more of him.
So if I may, I would now like to address the aliens directly in my capacity as the most rational person on Earth, which I'm sure they know. I'm sure they know everything about me. If they figured out intergalactic travel, I'm guessing they have cable. And so, as the representative of all humans, the first thing I'd like to say to you is, hi, please don't kill us even though you could. Probably just by pushing a button, and I'm guessing you think about it every time you see Jake Paul's podcast. Look, we've seen you go from 0 to what the fuck was that in half a second. We get it. There's no sense trying to fight you. 2 years ago, one of our drones launched a Hellfire missile at a high-speed orb, and it hit it and just bounced off. First of all, I'd just like to offer an apology for that on behalf of all humans. That was our bad. That was dumb. And yes, we do have a lot of dumb people here. Assholes, hotheads, shitheads, manosphere morons, meatheads. And that's just the conservatives. Don't get me started on the woke.
Well, he has a point. And that's, So several years ago, I tried to calculate how much energy it would take to actually bend space or generate a wormhole. This takes thermodynamics, relativistic equations, and the amount of energy needed doesn't compute. You need so much energy, and not that's just energy. You need power. And the amount of power that you need, you can't fit that in a ship, no matter what EMC square says. So if you have that kind of technology, the amount of the advanced, how far advanced they would be in compared to us, would make it impossible for a UFO to, crash in New Mexico then. Why would they crash in New Mexico? In a flying saucer that looks like something that somebody invented or drew up from that era. It's amazing that the witnesses, how they described these UFOs, that their description sort of match the style of the era. That is for me a warning. And Alpha Centauri is the closest star system. It's over 4 light years away, which is how long it would take you, 4 years, if you could travel at the speed of light. It makes no sense. So either they are able to have that technology, and they're able to pop in and out of our dimension here, or using wormholes or whatever it is, or this is all hoaxes, or it's spiritual. But I know some people who've claimed to have seen them, and they seem quite rational. But we also know that the human mind can be easily fooled. So, to me, it's inconceivable that it's extraterrestrials from distant planets. I don't see that happening. Is it something else? Is it somebody that's been here a long time, under our oceans or someplace? Maybe. Let's listen a little bit more.
So it certainly would be understandable if you decided we were just too stupid to live. It must be maddening studying us, because we are obviously capable of advancements that aren't completely embarrassing, like gene editing and cloud computing, but we're also idiots. We're the species that created the internet, but also the one that once broke it with this chick's ass. So, So I don't know what we can offer you. The stuff that we think makes living here great, I'm guessing you're way beyond sex and good food and getting fucked up. I doubt if you care about that stuff.
Sorry, I haven't watched this before, so this is my first time watching Bill Maher
Minerals? We got them.
on this.
I don't know if that still interests you. You may be beyond them, or maybe ours are obsolete. Although, have you heard about clean coal? I kid. But yeah, I don't know what we have here for you. Climate, we think ours is pretty uniquely pleasant in the universe, but who knows what you have? But just so you know, ours has trillions of viruses in it, and that's what killed the aliens in War of the Worlds. Just pointing that out as a friend. Because I'd like to think we are friends. After all, if you wanted us dead, we'd be dead already. Truth is, you may be here to save us, not kill us. In 1967, an Air Force captain and nuclear crew commander who were there revealed an incident when something unidentifiable hovered over Maelstrom Air Base in Montana, and then miraculously 10 nuclear weapons suddenly became disabled. Was something about to go terribly wrong and you stepped in? Whatever it is, please do more shit like that.
Yeah, otherwise maybe they were protecting something that they are already doing here. That's not an excuse. We don't know.
Please feel free to beat our swords into plowshares, because plainly we're not going to do it. Get us off oil. Get us off our phones. And AI, the father of AI, said there was a 10 to 20% chance of it being an extinction event. And yet we keep hurtling forward with it, as we do with global warming and the factory farming that causes pandemics. Look, it would be great if we could stop ourselves from self-destructive behavior, but the truth is, you should think of the human race as Britney Spears. It would be nice if we didn't need a conservatorship, but in reality, we really do.
Okay, let's talk about the AI for a second, wiping out humanity with AI. That's certainly a possibility when they start mixing robotics and drones and, mechanical technologies and military technologies with AI. But there are much more severe consequences on the human, and that's for sure, on the human race from AI. The first problem is that AI has been launched and released on the public to play with, to make them used to it, and to get them comfortable with AI. So everybody's playing with AI, making images, making videos, making music, writing articles, searching the internet with it, asking questions, getting answers. And the public is excited. Everybody thinks AI is fantastic. Most people love AI. Most academics are thrilled with AI. But there's a price. AI, the objective of AI in the hands of the government, big corporations, elites, people in power, deep state, is control. Control over humanity. Not just controlling us, but regulating us, policing us, judging us. And if you don't conform, you're going to be outside the system. How many times have you, with computers, have you wanted customer service or had a problem and you called and they said, sorry, so the system can't handle you. AI is the same. AI does not share the human experience. AI cannot handle things it hasn't encountered before. And every individual, this is why we are humans, we are individuals, and we have unique issues, unique problems, unique situations. And what AI is going to do is it's going to take over, because everything's going to be released on AI. Big corporations are already doing this. Google is already using AI not just to regulate people, but also to generate regulations. YouTube is using AI to cancel channels. AI is being used to monitor everything. Your privacy is completely gone. You have no privacy anymore. You don't need to pay anybody anymore to monitor anything. It's all AI. It's a server somewhere. So you can imagine every communication, every device that's connected to the internet is now a spy on you. If you make a phone call, and this has been going on for a long time. Edward Snowden also said that. But every phone call, every fax, every message, text message, every email, everything is monitored. Everything can be scanned by email, by AI. And so there's no privacy anymore. You are being digitized. Everything about you is being digitized. And an AI has full access to that and can pull anything out of that. Our bank accounts, our tax statements, our tax performance, everything. But in the end, it's about control. The second big problem that I see with AI is that the next generations, this generation, the next generations will decline further. What do I mean by that? Mentally and cognitively. When the internet was invented and computers, it was supposed to, a computer is a tool like anything, like a hammer. But there's also another view in this, has our lives really improved with computers, or has it become more complicated? But with the internet, something interesting happened, and that is that now information, with all this information on the internet, books essentially became obsolete for studying, for studying things, because the answer is right in front of you. And it's great because at the tip of at your fingertips, you can now access just about anything. You can look at scanned images of documents. You can look at diagrams. You can look at photos. You can look at videos of things that you could never have accessed that quickly. But the price with the AI, and then Wikipedia, which sat in between, YouTube, TikTok, is that people lose the ability to think. There's a stream of information, but there's no longer a need with AI for people to think for themselves. And I believe that people are going to lose the ability to think critically, completely. There's been already a sharp decline in critical thinking. We see it in our society. We can see it. But with AI, there's no longer a need to wrestle with a problem, which is going to teach you how to think. And students and children in school who are using AI, and just in general usage, there's no need to wrestle with a problem anymore. So how are you going to learn to think? Your brain develops, new neurons develop, new dendrites develop, new connections between the neurons in your brain can develop as you deal with issues, as you struggle with problems, whatever problem it is, whether it's learning to throw a ball or learning to draw a simple object or doing a math problem. Critical thinking is going to decline sharply. So All right, let's get to the next thing I want to talk about. And that is related to Easter. So, according to the Bible, the sun was created on the fourth day. This is in the Bible, Genesis 1. The sun was created on the fourth day of creation. The Bible also says that to God 1,000 years is like a day, and a day to it like 1,000 years. 2 Peter 3 verse 8. And if we use the biblical record, so-and-so begat so-and-so when he was sold, and he died when he was sold, and his son begat so-and-so, and so forth. Now, there are some gaps, and you can fill it in with historical records, but then we can calculate, and this is what the creationists do, that Adam was born about 6,000 years ago, or 6 God days, if you say 1 day is 1,000 years. And the sun was created on the fourth day, lights the world, lights the earth. The Bible says Jesus is the light of the world. This is the spiritual, because the Bible is a spiritual book, and it says Jesus is the light of the world. He was born on the fourth God day, 4,000 years after creation. At the end of the fourth day is when Jesus was born, 4 BC. And we are now entering the 7th God day, the 7th millennium since creation. I don't know how old the earth is. That's a different story. How long did it take God to create the universe? I don't know. Many creationists believe it was in 6 literal days. I don't know. But what I know is that we are entering the 7th God day since Adam was created. And if we go back here, does this mean that we're talking about end times and setting dates here? No, I'm not. We don't know when Jesus will return. This could be at the end of the 7th God day. It could be at the end of, it could be in 1,000 years from now. However, there are a lot of things lining up. And so Bill Maher had this statement. Matt Gaetz had these statements. Tim Burchett had these statements on UFOs and aliens. And what is he talking about? What is Tim talking about when he says that the country would become unglued and that the wheels would come off if people knew what's going on? I don't think he's talking about just that aliens are real. I think he's talking about something much more grotesque than that. Something much more grotesque is going on. Because there is a link between extraterrestrial sightings, UFO sightings, and satanic, demonic activity. There's a link. There are also links between sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, and these things. There's a link to Nephilim. So the Bible says in the last days that there will be strange times coming. And as Bill Maher said, they're in our faces now. They're not hiding anymore. But not only are UFOs and extraterrestrials not hiding, and we're seeing more of that. It seems that the demonic is also in our faces. We see it in our society. They're in our faces now. They don't hide anymore. They're not ashamed of coming out with stupid things. They're not ashamed anymore of saying a man is a woman is the same as a woman. There's no man and woman. There's a spectrum. Men can breastfeed and have babies. You can decide tomorrow that you're a male, and then the day after that you're a female, and then after that you can decide you're a penguin. So read this passage and see if you see what's happening in the world today. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. From such turn away is a warning. And then there's a prediction about what women will do. For this sort are they which creep into houses, and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Now as Jannes and Jambres withstood Moses, so do these also resist the truth, men of corrupt minds, reprobate concerning the faith. Jannes and Jambres, incidentally, were the two magicians that Pharaoh ordered to show Moses that they can also turn their staffs into snakes. Moses told Aaron to throw his staff, the rod of God, in front of Pharaoh. It turned into a serpent. And then Pharaoh called Jannes and Jambres, his musicians, and they did it with their staffs. They did some trick, some illusion, and they had their staffs appear to turn into snakes. But the snake that Moses produced consumed those two snakes. So that's Jannes and Jambres. And then there's a great deception. There's a coming great deception. The Bible talks about it. God sends a strong delusion. This is 2 Thessalonians 2:11. Let's go to that. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians 2:11. Okay. Let's see. No, this is the wrong verse. Did I have the wrong thing? Oh, this is, there we go. There we go. You can read here from verse 10. And with all deceit and of unrighteousness in those who perish, because they did not receive the love of truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they shall believe in a lie. This is in the end days. This is in the end times. There it is. Then we have Revelation, and we'll go to 13. And it deceives those dwelling on the earth because of the miracles which were given to it to do before the beast, saying to those dwelling on the earth that they should make an image of the beast who had been wounded by a sword and lived. And then there's Revelation 12, verse 9. The Satan who deceived the whole world. How about Revelation 20, verse 7 and 8? And when the 1,000 years have expired, Satan will be loosed out of his prison, and he will go out to deceive the nations. And in Matthew 24, Jesus warns us. Take heed that no man deceive you. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars, that you are not troubled, for all these things must occur, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in different places. All these things are the beginning of sorrow. Then they will deliver you up to the afflicted and will kill you. And then many will be, and you will be hated of all nations for my name's sake. He's talking to the believers. And then many will be offended and will betray one another and will hate one another. And many false prophets will rise and will deceive many. Let's see, where's verse 23? And then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there is, do not believe him, for false Christs and false prophets will arise, and show great signs and wonders, so much so that, if it were possible, they would deceive even the elect. Yeah, deception is prophesied in the Bible. Now, has it to do with UFOs and extraterrestrials? It could be. You know, the Bible talks about many different types of beings. It doesn't exclusively talk about extraterrestrials from other planets. It does talk about stars that are entities, which is interesting. It talks about angels and demons and evil spirits. Many types of angels. There are messenger angels, there are archangels, there are fallen angels, there are angels of protection, there are angels of warrior angels, there are worshipping angels, cherubim, seraphim, hornets, all kinds of beings. And then the evil spirits, there are a long list of evil spirits, seducing and lying spirits particularly, and unclean spirits. And then, of course, you had these visions that the prophet saw that seemed to indicate wheels and flying objects, flying chariots, flying scrolls, flying objects. Could this be the great deception and the great delusion? It's possible. It's all possible. 2 Timothy continues. He says, yea, indeed, all who will live godly in Christ Jesus shall suffer persecution. The only reason you get persecuted as a Christian is if you speak the truth. That's how you get persecuted. You don't get persecuted if you don't speak the truth. Living godly in Christ means to speak the truth. This is what the Bible teaches. We must be a light. You don't put a light under a bushel. You don't put it underneath something. You shine the light, and light is truth. And it says here also, but evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. And, if you're a Christian, then I have to tell you, you have to speak truth. We have to, if we don't want to lose our freedoms, then we better use our freedom and use it to speak truth. The church is absolutely quiet. This Easter, nobody that I saw even mentioned nothing about this 2000-year anniversary of the baptism of Christ. Nobody. This church is not speaking out against this twisting of truth that's happening in the world. Nobody's. In fact, the churches have joined in. You know, there are 7 mainline Protestant churches in America. And out of the 7, 5 of them are now LGBTQ inclusive. In other words, they will ordain LGBTQ pastors. Trans, queer, homosexual, gay, lesbian, you name it. They will, and they probably prefer them. How is that possible? Which Bible are they reading? Because not I said this is an abomination. God says it's an abomination in His Word. So how do you ordain somebody that has gender confusion, which is demonic by Christian standards? It's demonic. They need deliverance. These people are captives. Jesus said free. He came to set the captives free. And we have to love them. But we have to help them. We have to speak truth to them. Not let them just, continue in that. They need to be delivered. They need to be helped. But instead, the churches are affirming it, saying that's fine. Jesus said, just come as you are. He didn't say that. Jesus says love is truth. If you speak love to somebody, if you want to love somebody, then you speak truth to them. You don't lie to them. The Bible doesn't teach anybody to lie. It doesn't teach us to lie. And we're going to lose our freedom of speech. In Finland has freedom of speech. But just this past week, or maybe this week, a Finnish parliamentarian was found guilty by the Supreme Court in Finland for hate speech. Why? Because she published a pamphlet, and the pamphlet said marriage is between one man and one woman. And they said that's hate speech. It didn't say anything about hating anybody. It just explained God's formula. His formula in his book. And that's hate speech. Can you imagine the consequences of that? That means the Bible is now in Finland already a book of hate speech. That means anything you wrote, anything you said, could now be determined as hate speech. If you state anything that's Christian, it's hate speech. Is it coming to America? Absolutely. It's coming to America at the rate it's going on. Unless the church stands up, grows a spine, and starts speaking against these things. I mean church leaders everywhere. And if you belong to one of those churches, and you need to get out. They are the Episcopal Church, the United Church of Christ, the United Methodist Church, the Evangelical Lutheran Church, and the Presbyterian Church in the USA. If you belong to one of those churches, get out. Get out. Because they are listening to devils. These are the doctrines of devils. They're not helping people. They're not loving people who are struggling. They are keeping them captive. And they're promoting Satan's doctrines. This is evil. It's against everything the Bible teaches. We have to realize that this country's constitution is under attack. And it's not just the communists. It's a multitude. I mean, it's an assault from all sides. Islam is also on the doorstep. And Islam is a world-dominating empire. They are taking over the world country by country. How do they do it? Just like Muhammad did. He himself found his way into a country, and 5 years later, there were no Jew left. There was no Jew left. They killed everybody. They do it by claiming the victim, by playing the victim. But they're not the victim, they are the aggressor. They are the ones who infiltrate, who invade and take over. And they don't need to be a majority to do that, as Britain is now finding out. Listen to Tommy Robinson, listen to Brigitte Gabriel, these people. Pay attention, because it's coming like a freight train. But this red-green alliance between communism and Islam, the LGBTQ woke mob, and these radical feminists, all these radical left-wing ideas are threatening civilization as we know it. And we're heading into a new era of dark ages. And now put it all together. We have a deception coming. You have this assault on freedom. You have AI taking control of humans, and you have human intelligence declining. Put it all together. Put it all together with what the Bible says. It all works together. The church is the only organization that has the tools to stand in the gap between Satan and his army and this planet. Satan wants to turn this planet into darkness. He's the god of this world according to the Bible. And he's assaulting the planet. He wants to turn the entire planet into darkness. How does he do that? Well, he has to wipe out Christianity. He has to wipe out Christianity. He has to wipe out freedom. And who has the tools to stand up against Satan? The police, the FBI, the Space Force, NATO, CIA, the Army. Can you call the Navy? Who do you call? Ghostbusters? No, the people who have the weaponry to stand against Satan and the demonic hordes of the Christian church, the body of Christ, believers. That's it. That's it. That's it. If they are quiet and they don't do anything, they stick their heads in the sand, God will let them. Let me quiet this thing down. We are really in a time when it is necessary for Christians to speak up. It's necessary for Christians to speak up. If you don't, you're going to lose your freedom. I come from a country that did. I lost my country. Let me tell you, once you've lost your country, you can never go back. You can only look back and say, I wish I did this. I wish I spoke out. I wish we did more. But you can never get it back. It's over. It's done. Don't fight for it for yourself. Fight for it for the future of your children. That's a message from Truth One Matters Unplugged. I've preached enough. Thank you for watching. We'll try again another day, I hope. This stream wasn't with too many errors, and I'm getting better at it. I will do more of them to try to get used to this and just turn the cameras on and start recording. That's what I hope to be able to do. But today was a little bit rough, so please forgive that. I don't have a producer. I'm doing it by myself at the moment. So put any comments you have in the chat, or make a comment on the video once it's published. I believe the chat is being published. I did check all the boxes, so this chat will be published and it will be playing as the video plays as well. It should. So before you leave, just put a comment in there. Tell me what you liked about the video, what you didn't like about the video. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks a lot. Happy Good Friday. Happy Easter. Have a blessed weekend. And see you next time.